championships and beating a time of 17:01 on the state course by Alexa Efraimson at the state meet says a lot about what she did, and she ran 16:48 in Pasco this last week.
Yeah, first Washington State course performance under 17 minutes. She finished 26th in this race last year, as she will be among the favorites. All right, let's talk about the team race. Only 2 teams qualify. This is always a very deep region of the country.
We had a pretty good idea at the beginning of season what the top 2 teams would be, and it could be like Forest Park and Stumptown XC, but the same thing can be said about Emily Wisniewski. These 2 teams have been battling with illnesses and injuries all season long. So at this point, it's kind of wide open, but I think the team that we're really going to be paying attention to is the number 17 team in the country in Grit XC. Could expect Oregon Distance Project to mix it up a little bit as well. They had a really good state meet last week in Oregon, but expect maybe Forest Park and Stumptown to step it up when it counts most.
So again, just the top 2 teams will advance automatically. There are at-large bids available to teams, but those decisions will be made after all the regionals are complete. A big regional slate for you a week from today, when we'll have 5 of those regions in the conclusion of our 3 weekends of Nike Cross regional coverage. Final moments of motivation and teamwork here as they'll get themselves to the line here. Some of the top teams and top individuals from around the country. And as we always mention at the outset of these, we look at all the accolades, so many of these kids coming off performances where they've won or podiumed in their respective high school championships, but now they come 7 states slammed together. You look left, you look right, and you've got people who have done the exact same thing that you have in other states, and it just ratchets up the quality of the competition.
Puts into perspective, too, what you necessarily do in your state, and then you go to a larger scale. When, like you said, you bring in these 7 states, and the best of the best from each of those states come against each other, one another, for a spot to, go out, qualify for Nike Cross Nationals. This is a championship race for a reason. This is why you bring in the best of the best, and hopefully you have that representation out of your region at Nike Cross Nationals.
Of course, Nike Cross Nationals in early December at Glendevere Golf Course in Portland. That is set up on a golf course. Only the Southwest region is the only regional setup in which they also race on a golf course. That'll be a week from today as part of our 3rd weekend of coverage. This course at just outside of Boise, I think one of the most fun because it's got a lot of different things to offer you, including our only beach racing of the regionals.
A totally different course than what we saw at the Heartland region last week, which was just soccer fields and complete flat terrain. But as you said, Paul, this is a very fun course, just with so many different terrains, with hills, with rugged grass, the beach, if you will. Not very many opportunities you get to see a beach. And look who's here at the start line. U.S. Olympian herself, Carissa Schweitzer, having some high fives with some of our ladies.
And we'll have her join us a little bit later on as she will do our post-race interviews from the finish line. Neat involvement of these elite Nike athletes throughout the course of the regionals around the country. And then what a special treat for all those who qualify, both the teams and individuals, getting a chance to rub shoulders with many of these athletes, spend some time with them, a lot of meals and sort of casual situations during the course of the lead up to Nike Cross Nationals where they get the chance to kind of talk shop with people that they've been looking up to for years.
And what a time to be a U.S. Distance runner right now. Just with the success that we've seen, obviously Kenneth Rooks last week, a silver Olympic medalist at the Heartland region. You got Carissa Schweitzer, who is racing both the 5,000 and 10,000 at the Olympics. I mean, the peak of distance running right now in the United States is so good.
And the next wave on display here on a very beautiful, sunny but cold day just outside of Boise, Idaho. It's the Nike Cross Regionals Northwest. Final instructions from the starter. The races are ready. Let's listen in. Nike Cross Regionals Northwest underway just outside of Boise, Idaho, as the top athletes from around the Northwest region try to get themselves a spot at Nike Cross Nationals in early December. And as the racing unfolds here on the wide open space that is the opening stretch of this race, we'll also show for you all the athletes that are scheduled to be racing in this elite girls field here, along with the favorites, many of them we've talked about here in the early going, including Emily Wisniewski out of the state of Oregon, the reigning champion, trying to defend that title here in 2024.
What a sight we have here, Paul. I mean, not very many sports have the mass start that is cross country, and just, we also get this drone footage. Like, look at this. You don't get a lot of this in other sports, and it's just a picture perfect sight. And like I said, it's been a great day here in Boise, and I'm just excited right now just to see what this championship race has to offer.
Well, I'm excited to see the masses come together of runners here as they'll squeeze themselves down into the main part of this race course. Again, 5,000 meters the distance for both the boys and the girls in all of these regional races. They'll run the same distance when they go to Portland in early December. And we'll get some early leaders here in a moment. And Chloe Heiler, front and center, 23-24 out of the Pacer Project, the Oregon 6A champion, out to the early pace.
And looking to, like I said, all season long, she's tried to make a statement for herself. And I think this has been the right approach, is to get out front and tell people, like, listen, like, this is my plan. If you want to go with it, fine. But you have to chase me down for it. You can also see Sofia Rodriguez up there into the mix. Someone that finished in the top 20 last year, but, was in perfect condition to be one of those top 5 individuals. Just that day, it did not play out. And coming off a 16:48 performance, and as you mentioned, the first sub-17 performance at the Washington State Cross Country Championships, there's a lot of momentum on her side right now.
Yeah, confidently, Rodriguez, you can see from up high here, she's in the white, wearing the gloves, coming up and along Heiler, so covering that early pace move here as they get themselves in and around this waterway that surrounds the park. You saw the beach on the other side, and we'll get our early paces here, at least our early splits here, come through the 1K, and that'll afford us the opportunity not only to see who are the leaders here and talk about those potential spots as individuals to race at Nike Cross Nationals, but this, obviously, a team race as well, and so being able to see the real-time scoring that evolves here, knowing that maybe your 4th or 5th runner is going to be the difference between you making it to Portland or not.
And one of the toughest parts of this course is actually at the beginning, and then probably towards the middle of it, is right here, actually, because it's such a tight turn. And given if it was raining or muddy, we would probably see a lot of people falling down and slipping, falling right into those bushes. And so you have to play your cards very carefully here within this portion of the course. But as you said, Paul, like, this, I feel like, to me, the team race is so wide open just because of all the circumstances, with Stumptown. They're without Emma Bennett today. That's a huge loss for them. That's been their number one all season long. Forest Park, they're finally starting to get to see what, Ellery Lincoln is trying to get back into the things after she's been dealing with health issues. There's just so many different factors on the team side.
All right, some of the early paces here now as we go through the 1 kilometer mark here at the Nike Cross Regionals Northwest. And the cream rises to the top early with Heiler, Sofia Rodriguez, and the reigning champion Wisniewski. And then Taylor Sletner, Victoria Rodriguez rounding out the top 5. But you go down, there's Cassidy Armstrong. Hannah Heiler is also in the mix in 7th. Reagan Thomas, Maggie Matson, and Nellie Dalgas, who's also another strong performer, the junior, there in about 10th position. But now Wisniewski is going to take the lead.
To no surprise, though, on the team side, Grit XC is running a strong race so far early on. That was expected, knowing that they were a top 20 nationally ranked team coming in. They've had probably the most success, the most consistent success all season long, so to be at 70 points right now is no surprise. But Pacer Project, though, out of Lake Oswego, which is, of course, led by Chloe Heiler and her twin sister, Hannah, a lot of those points are coming from those two up front right now, and they're sitting in 2nd position.
See Cassidy Armstrong moving up, and she is wearing bib 3270. The junior was 19th last year, finished 4th at the most recent Washington State Championship at the 3A level. Now a group of about 5 girls here in the front with a little bit of separation as they reach about 5 minutes elapsed in this championship girls race.
Coming into this race, this was what I thought that front 5 would look like. I expected, obviously, Sofia Rodriguez, Chloe Heiler, Emily Wisniewski to be in the mix. You throw Victoria Rodriguez, who's also had a very good year in her senior campaign. Then Cassidy Armstrong, out of nowhere, has just had a phenomenal season. Got a huge statement win at the Hole in the Wall Invitational, which she beat both Rodriguez sisters by 20+ seconds. So it'd be nice to see her, kind of bounce back into after what was not necessarily a great performance at the Washington State meet, but a chance to go to nationals and make a name for yourself.
No, this is not a remake of Chariots of Fire. This is the cool portion of the course here in Idaho at Nike Cross Regionals as they're on the beach and now finally up and off the beach. 5.5 minutes elapsed in this girls' championship race. Again, the top 5 individuals, if they're not in a team that advances to Nike Cross Nationals, will have those automatic spots. The reigning champion, Emily Wisniewski, out of the state of Oregon, still in that lead group, back at about 3rd right now.
And as you heard at the beginning of the show, Paul, she's feeling more confident now than ever, now that she feels like things are starting to click again. She's healthy, she's rested, like after winning her 4th consecutive state title at Oregon. Again, talk about momentum. Nobody else probably has more momentum than this young lady does, and so much to talk about with her, but like it's just kind of see how everything unfolds here as we make that first hill climb, which in the second part of this race could play a factor here at the end.
When the snow arrives in Idaho, this hill turns itself into a ski sled area as they will make that climb on firm and dry ground, and chance and an opportunity again to close in on the 2-kilometer mark when we'll have our next opportunity for splits here as they'll come across those timing mats right there. Heiler now with the lead, 6:47.2, followed by Sophia Rodriguez, Cassidy Armstrong, Victoria Rodriguez, and the champion from a year ago, Emily Wisniewski, now back in 5th.
Pretty good position so far for Emily. She knows that she needs to be in that top 5, so she's sitting pretty comfortably right now, but she can't get too comfortable though, because then she's going to start falling back 6th, 7th, 8th place. Then you fall out of contention of being in those top 5 individuals. As long as you're within contact of that top group, yeah, it's nice to get the win, but being in that top 5 individuals is what's most important.
Heiler tasting a little bit of that dust that gets kicked up by our lead gator, giving you these live pictures from Idaho as there's been a change in the lead once again. Sophia Rodriguez takes that turn with authority and steps in front of Heiler. Heiler had a great performance here last year, finishing 5th and trying to do even better here in 2024. Currently in 2nd. We're closing in on the halfway mark here in the race.
No fear from this sophomore whatsoever out front. I mean, she's shown this since she was in the 8th grade, because when she was racing in Pennsylvania before moving to Washington, she was always racing against the girls older than her and then beating them as well. So it's no surprise to see Sophia be doing this, but I like that Hannah's at this point being the veteran, even though this is her 2nd year of cross country, just kind of let Sophia do the work and see how things feel out when they hit the second part of this course.
A look from high above here from our drone coverage. Great job by our production squad throughout the course of this day of racing. Still a boys' championship race to follow, but Sophia Rodriguez now with a little bit of daylight between her and 2nd place Heiler, and then a good portion of space back to 3rd and 4th. You see Wisniewski still in the green over dark, the reigning champion, not out of the race to defend that title here just yet, as she's now stepping in and trying to battle Cassidy Armstrong for 3rd.
So again, talked about being comfortable. She's in a great spot right now. She's in 4th and she's making her way up. That's smart racing from a senior that's been on this course 3 times already throughout her career and has qualified for Nike Cross Nationals twice. So she knows what to expect out of this course. She knows it probably front to back better than anybody else. So again, prime position to be in a good spot towards the end.
And Heiler takes another big look behind. That never is a good thing to see when you're trying to battle for a potential victory here, when you start to worry about what's going on behind you right now, as Rodriguez continues to strengthen and lengthen her lead here just in, 9.5 minutes of racing, and still into the second half of the race now. Wisniewski alongside the other Rodriguez in Victoria Rodriguez in that battle for top 5 positioning.
And Chloe's in an uncomfortable position right now because this is something that she hasn't been in this season. She hasn't been in 2nd. She hasn't been that person chasing down somebody else. So how do you respond? How do you put yourself in a position where you feel like, okay, I'm still in contact with the leader. It's just don't panic. Make your way up there. You still got about maybe 6.5 minutes left in this race.
There's the timing apron again, so we're going to reach the 3K mark. So into the second half of the race, Rodriguez through in 10:09.8, and it looks like she'll have almost a 7-second advantage on Chloe Heiler, with Wisniewski now just about 3 seconds behind Heiler in 3rd. followed by Victoria Rodriguez. Electra Higgins has now moved up into 5th position. Cassidy Armstrong in 6th. Nellie Dalgas in 7th. Maggie Matson in 8th. Paisley Taylor in 9th. And Kyla Matayuraga is currently in 10th. You see now the team totals on the upper left portion of your screen. 5 team members score, so waiting for those 5 to cross that timing mat, and that is the race within the race here, as right now it is all Rodriguez out in front.
But in the team race, though, Grit XC looked really good after the 2 kilometers, just was what we saw in the first K. They're well ahead the rest of the field, and that second spot, it's like, all right, who's going to be able to grab that? Well, East Boise now is in that position right now. So seeing they can try to mix it up and try to qualify again early on in the season. We thought it was going to be Stumptown and Forest Park. Throw that off the table now. It's Grit XC and East Boise XC.
Waiting for Grit's 5th runner to come through and be populated here. It is a real-time scoring update as they're removing the unattached athletes in real time and then re-scoring the race based on the teams that are competing here. Grit now with 89, still waiting for another team to come across with their 5th runner in that race. Again, only 2 teams automatically advance here out of the Northwest region to Nike Cross Nationals.
Within this individual race, there is someone that is running with vengeance, and that's Electra Higgins right now. She was 1 spot away from making that individual Northwest team last year, and she is just probably telling herself, you know what, I'm going into this race, and I got to get this top 5 spot. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how I do it. I just need to be in that top 5.
Washington 3A runner-up this year is Higgins. We'll keep an eye on her positioning here as we'll get another split at the 4K mark before we make the turn for home. And right now, Sofia Rodriguez in complete control of this race individually. Again, about 7 seconds the advantage on Chloe Heiler here as we go high above, and she is in isolation here. No one within, 5, well, now up to maybe 10 seconds between her and Heiler.
Pace got hot, and then she got warm, so she took the gloves off. She's like, I've had enough of this. And this is the portion of the course where I said the hill was challenging, but it's the beach and the sand that feels like your feet are like kind of going all over the place. You're wobbly, it kind of can throw off your rhythm. So I'm curious to see how she responds. And so far, it's pretty good for the first 100 meters, but she's got 200 more meters of this.
She went over that little tubing there at 12:57, so her lead definitely well over 10 seconds now against Heiler as she works her way across this unique portion of the course in the Northwest region. The beach will then turn back into comfortable, firm ground as she will attack now what is less than 2 kilometers to go in this race for a Northwest Regional Championship. And Sofia Rodriguez is closing in on that victory. Just went through 4K in 13:29.8, and we'll wait for Heiler to go through here as she will come across in 13:40.5. So the lead up to almost 11 seconds as you look here at the elevation tracker at the bottom of your screen. Coming up to that final climb, they go around this course twice, so matching that earlier climb here with the same climb as Victoria Rodriguez makes the turn, starts head for that climb as well. She is in 4th with Snusky in 5th, and Higgins is currently there in 5th position.
Trying to hang on for dear life. As I said, she wants this 5th position. She knows if she can get there, she's accomplished what she set out to do. However, if she falls back 1 spot, then she feels like this is not what I wanted to be in. I want to be one of those individuals that qualified for NXN. And this is, again, I reiterate this so much throughout today. This is the hard part of the course just because not only is it uphill, but it's just mentally daunting. You're fatigued by the end of this. You're getting so close, about 800 meters out or so. But the best person so far that's looked great on this course is the one that's winning this race right now.
Yeah, she ran that last kilometer in 3:20, more than 4 seconds faster than anybody else's kilometer as we look down the splits here. You talked about Higgins in 5th. She ran that 4th kilometer in 3:31.4. And Nellie Dalgas, who we saw her coming alongside of her as they were heading towards the hill, had run her last kilometer in 3:28.4. So in 6th, Dalgas looking like she's been strong here of the second half of the race.
And that's another athlete that's had a phenomenal season so far. You know, it was 23rd at this race last year. Has made a huge jump this year, 2nd at the Oregon 6A State Championships. Another athlete kind of like Sofia Rodriguez, who necessarily didn't have a great NXR Northwest, but could see a little bit charged though from Chloe Heiler. It looks like the the senior out of Lake Oswego, Oregon.
Yeah, waited that 4K and has started to put some pace and trying to get back into contact with Rodriguez, and she is doing so with every stride. So what was once a runaway race for Sofia Rodriguez is now turning into a two-girl battle for championship bragging rights here in Idaho. Chloe Heiler, who had the early lead, keeping an eye on her as this crowd now about 4 deep, realizing they're going to witness another great finish here in Idaho.
I know they were probably too young to know what Border Clash is, but I'm getting the sense of what this is, Paul. I mean, it's Washington versus Oregon right here in the closing stages. You couldn't have picked a better finish between two of the best, not only in the Northwest, but also across the nation. And it's setting up for what should be a really good finish. Pretty close to Sydney Thorflidson's time of 16:50. I don't know if they'll get it today, kind of like last year, but it's going to be a kicker's race, and we'll see what happens here in the last 200 meters.
And they make that big turn and still trying to figure out if Rodriguez even knows that Heiler is there. And now look at Heiler go to the arms, and look at the turnover here as she zooms past Rodriguez and into the lead.
What a move by Chloe Heiler. Played this smart the entire time. And as I said, as a senior, she knows the course, even though it's been the second year, but she runs like a veteran even in her second year of cross country.
Heiler came to Idaho last year, finishing in 5th, qualifying for NXN, and she'll qualify again this year as the Northwest Regional Champion. Sofia Rodriguez gave it all that she could. She will still get herself automatically to NXN, finishing in 2nd. The reigning champion from a year ago is also qualified for Nike Cross Nationals. Emily Wisniewski finishing in 3rd. It's Victoria Rodriguez in 4th. And Electra Higgins holds on to finish in 5th.
A big sigh of relief probably for Higgins, realizing she turns around. She's like, yes, I did it. I'm not that person that was the one spot out of being the top 5 individuals. And she is heading to Nike Cross Nationals in her senior season. But how about the fact that Sofia Rodriguez is getting to be joined by her sister Victoria on the start line for one last race at Nike Cross Nationals. Of course, Victoria will be heading off to Wake Forest next fall.
So you see the top 8 in the standings here. Here comes the rest of the field, and this is where the team totals will be calculated as we'll wait for the 5 scoring members of the respective teams to get across the line, who will get an automatic invite to Nike Cross Nationals. Again, only 2 squads will get automatic qualifiers here. And that finish, we're looking forward to seeing if Grit XC, which was basically in the lead for the first 4 kilometers, if they can hold on here at the end.
Their first runner just came across the line in 13th, Haley Heemeyer, which is the younger sister of Landon Heemeyer, who qualified for Nike Cross Nationals last year in the Northwest region. So a good placement for her. Kind of just seeing more and more teams filing in. It doesn't look like that they have. There's more and more Grit XC runners coming in. Again, we'll get a sense of when more and more individuals cross that finish line, but I think it's pretty safe to say Grit XC ran a very, very good race and just won themselves an NXR title.
Brooklyn Hom of their squad finishing back in 30th position, and then Brooke Thompson 37th. Emmy Ham finishing in 47th for Grit, and Chloe Pollock, I believe, might be their 5th runner across in 59th. We'll await those team scores as those will hopefully populate here in the left upper portion of your screen as we keep an eye on all the runners finishing here on empty in the Northwest to wrap up the girls' championship race. A reminder, the boys will toe the line here shortly in the final championship race of the schedule today. And of course, a reminder, tomorrow we'll be out in the Midwest in Indiana at Laverne Gibson, that championship course, the site of Nike Cross Regionals Midwest, and then 5 regionals on the docket next week in the South, the Southeast, the Southwest, and New York and Northeast. It'll be a fabulous day of racing come next Saturday. A busy one as well.
Very busy, just to add on top of, NCAA stuff as well going on that weekend. NXR is the important stuff, but also it is a crazy time of the year. But this is a fun time of year, Paul. Like this is why you and I have the fun job. Like, we get to watch all these great athletes perform. We're not necessarily the ones having to go out there and actually do the race, but didn't talk about it and watch them perform at at their highest potential is certainly a treat when it comes to this job.
So still waiting for those team results to become official, as they are, again, pulling out all the results of the unattached runners, and then they have to re-add the scores together to give us our team scores after the 4th kilometer in the team standings. It was Grit XC first, followed by East Boise and Forest Park. There had just been, what it looks like, just 37 points between 2nd and 5th in that battle for the 2nd automatic qualifier. And of course, a reminder again, there are at-large spots available on the team side, but those selections won't be made until the end of the month and after the regionals have been completed all over the country.
If I'm a coach right now and I'm one of those teams that within 4 points, that 2nd place after the 4K, I'm really nervous right now as just to see what the outcome is. Is it staying the same? Is it changing? At least what I saw from Forest Park, Ellery Lincoln, who has had a roller coaster of a year, has been recently diagnosed with some sort of vocal cord dysfunction. Actually had to go to Denver for some treatment and learn more about that, but she had a great race today, it looked like, finishing, I think it was in the top 15 or so. So, that's someone that got to help her team go to Nike Cross Nationals last year, and even was part of that Nike Cross Regional team that won the title last year.
Final athletes coming to the line. Always have our cameras fixed on this finish line so you can see anyone you've tuned in to come across the line. Everyone to be congratulated, getting themselves to a championship here in Nike Cross Regionals as the last runners coming through here. Chloe Heiler of the Pacer Project is the champion, not 1/10 above or below that 17-minute mark. She hit it perfectly, 17 minutes on the dot, just about 10 seconds off the course record. As we go back to this race, it really just became, 5 of our top runners out there early. We saw Sofia Rodriguez take control, thought maybe she was going to have it going away, but Chloe Heiler, even though she had the lead here in the early going, showed some patience over the rest of the race.
I like the chance that Sophia took to show no fear and no guts. Like I said last year, the end result did not go as planned. So I'm sure her coach told her, it's like, listen, just go run out there and run freely and just see what happens. If you're in that top 5 position, better. If you're in that top 3 position, that's fine. You don't necessarily have to win this race. Sometimes you got to let the senior get the victory instead of the sophomore letting it. But, props to Chloe Heiler, though, for playing this race so smart, so patient, and just, again, whatever it takes to get to Nike Cross Nationals, whether you're first or you're that 5th individual, it doesn't matter. It's being in that top 5.
As she comes across the line as the NXR Northwest champion. Again, 17 minutes exactly on the clock to take the victory here in 2024. Still unofficial, but Grit XC appears to be the team winner today, and in a battle between East Boise and Forest Park for that 2nd automatic spot, it looks at the moment that East Boise will get in with 201 points and Forest Park with 205, and that's, if they're going to end up in 3rd, Keenan, that's going to be, now it's sort of the beauty contest we have with these boys and girls teams to try to see if the at-large folks will select her in.
And the committee has to make a decision as whether or not they thought Forest Park had a very good performance or better than what they would have seen from the other regions. So you have to evaluate a lot of things, and committees, that's what it is. It's about evaluating things and see how things play out.
Mid-Lake Herons unofficially in 4th, Storm over Bend finishing unofficially in 5th. Well, the girls' race lived up to the hype. The best athletes from around the region descending upon Boise here to race for Nike Cross Regionals Northwest Championship. And in the end, only one could be declared the champion, Sofia Rodriguez from the Mid-Lake Herons. And she's at the finish line with Carissa Schweitzer.
Okay, so I'm out here with Chloe Heiler, your champion of today's race. How did you feel out there?
I felt really good, especially at the end. I knew I had a lot left, so yeah.
And you had such a strong finish out there. It was a really close race. How did you feel powering through that finish?
Yeah, so I kind of let her get away from me, and then I saw that I was gaining on her, so I was like, okay, like I can catch her. So yeah.
And you're from Oregon, and now you're going to go to Nike Cross Nationals. What are you most looking forward to out there?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to competing against the best of the best, and I'm excited for my teammates to come out and support me since we live so close.
Yeah, it's a local legend, so there'll be a lot of people on the course out there cheering for her. And good luck out there, and we'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Carissa, and apologies to Chloe Heiler as I had Sofia Rodriguez on the brain for the better part of that race. She had the lead, but Heiler with that strong performance and finish to take her first Nike Cross Regional Championship, crossing the line in 17 minutes. We'll step aside for a few commercial messages and be ready to go with the boys championship race in a moment. You're watching live coverage of Nike Cross Regionals Northwest here on runnerspace.com.
I've got a joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Deep down in my heart, it's down in my heart. I've got a joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart today. I've got the grandest, greatest feeling. This feeling's really here to stay. And it's a joy that needs revealing. So I just want to say,
He passed on the last height, leaving everything up to this third and final attempt. Here's the takeoff. Beautiful form. Can he get there? Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
You need to get your hips up.
Save the date, mark your calendar. Wednesday, December 18th, it's the presentation of the Bowerman. The winners of college track and field's highest honor announced live on RunnerSpace. Join us for a celebration of the 2024 season featuring award finalist Maya Ramsden of Harvard, Oregon's Jada Ross, Parker Valby of Florida, men's side Caleb Dean of Texas Tech, Georgia's Christopher Morales-Williams, and Leo Neugebauer of Texas. It's the greatest athletes, special guests, surprises, and of course, the raising of the Bowerman Trophy. See it all on RunnerSpace, December 18th.
Sixth and final round of the competition. She needs a big one here to get on the podium. Look at that release. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
Ooh, $1.
Ah, good.
Oh, hey, jerk, give me that. I'm saving up for RunnerSpace Plus subscription. This baby put me over the top.
I wouldn't pay for that. I don't like to support stuff. Woo, stinky.
Dude, do you always throw away your socks? That's your Plus subscription right there.
Seriously?
With a Plus subscription, you'll gain access to all our live webcasts and the largest archive of running videos anywhere on the planet. Or you could just be like him.
Here's the final handoff. They were a little shaky in the prelims, but they get away clean here. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app. To improve 3 centimeters to get back in front. And here's the approach. He's got great speed. Takeoff looks good. Feeling athletic? Get the Athletic app.
How dare you?
Sorry.
Welcome back to Boise, Idaho. Nike Cross Regionals Northwest here in 2024. Spectacular day here in the state of Idaho, and it was a spectacular race day for the top teams from around the 7 states that converge on this Northwest Regional. And you see now what we have now are official results on the team side, and we did say it was going to be fluid, and indeed it was. No surprise, Keenan. The Grid XC gets themselves another invitation to Nike Cross Nationals, but Forest Park with a strong close overtakes East Boise as they finish in second for that other automatic invite.
When things didn't look like it was going well all season long for this group, they showed up when it mattered most. And they did. I mean, Coach Eric Detman got them prepared. Ellery Lincoln had a great race today. She finished 10th overall to lead the charge, and they've been here before. They know what it takes to get back to Nike Cross Nationals, and they did so, and He had to do it the second honor qualifier, so I guess the hard way a little bit.
And there are implications there on the individual side as well, because no member of either of those two teams were in the top 5. So the top 5 individuals across the line in order are the automatic individual qualifiers in Chloe Heiler, Sophia Rodriguez, Emily Wisniewski, Victoria Rodriguez, and Electra Higgins.
It's a really good individual field, too. Very, very good individual field. A lot of representation from Washington and Oregon.
But there can only be one team champion. It is Grit XC here in 2024. As we head back to the finish line, check in with Carissa, who are with our winning team.
Okay, so I'm out here with Grit XC, and they just secured their ticket to nationals. How did you guys feel out there today?
It's so surreal. That was so fun.
That felt so amazing.
So amazing. It was just so hyped.
Yes. And how are you guys? Oh, we got another one. And how did you guys feel like going into the race? Did you expect this, or how did you like carry the momentum to get to this point?
I think we were all very confident in our ability because we've just had such great momentum coming from every race up to this time. But really what it came down to was just how much we love each other and trust each other. And like my only goal going into this was just if I stay by my teammates, then we can do it.
Wow, I love that answer. And this will be your guys' first time at NXN, and what are you most looking forward to in Portland?
I'm so excited to be able to meet all the girls all over the nation who've been doing this sport. It's so fun and everyone loves it so much. I think it's going to be such a party.
Well, that's awesome, and we're excited to see how you guys do at Nationals. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carissa. Great moment for Grid XC as they get themselves an invite to Nationals. Boys squad has always been very competitive as well, but nice to see the girls will have that opportunity to get to Portland in early December. They just basically did themselves no favors to the rest of the squads they were competing against. They took the lead early and just maintained it all the way to the end as they become our second girls team champion in regional action so far here in 2024. Last weekend, we kicked off our 3 weeks of coverage in the Heartland region. Keenan, you were there. What stood out? The undercard races are complete as we